Welcome back. All right, so news of the day. Some of this took place yesterday, some of it from this morning. Mixed it all together. Here we are. The NHL rescheduled 23 games yesterday. Montreal fans weren't happy when they saw how the schedule was going to work. And, the reality is, yeah, the NHL's trying to get 56 games in for everybody. That's the plan. And so they've managed to maintain a 56 game schedule for everybody. There are contractual reasons why it's important to keep the same amount of games in there. And so there we are. It means that Montreal plays, I think it's 25 games in 43 days. They've also extended the end of the season to May 11th. Remember, it was originally May 8th, so they've only added 3 days. And they said at the beginning they had a week to 10 days they felt that they could put games into beyond what they already had scheduled. So we're still in good shape to get that 56 game schedule in. And there's the possibility that's been floated. I think it's Chris Johnston said, or either him or Elliot Friedman, that it's possible that there'll be some overlap between the end of the season and the start of the playoffs, depending on team schedules and all that. Remember, much like last season, they want to get this done as quickly as possible. So look for the playoffs to have a very tight schedule. It's gonna be a tough one. Whoever wins the Stanley Cup this year will kind of have gone through the ultimate testing ground here, because there's so many games in such a short period of time. It is such an absolutely unusual experience they're having to go through right now. And yeah, everybody's going to be dealing with a lot of injuries, and bad schedules. So when you talk about, well, my team's got this many games in this many days, there will always be a fan base somewhere to go, you think you've got it bad. That's what the rest of this season's going to look like. So yeah, May 11th is right now the end date. Ekblad. So the only thing we know is he's being evaluated today. He did go with the team to Florida so he can be further evaluated. And it looks like extensive time. And again, anybody who saw the injury, paying attention to exactly what's going on here, it's probably going to be the rest of the season. I can't see him being back this year. Unless miraculously there was no major damage done, I just can't see him being back this year. Joel Quenneville just said it's going to be extensive time that he's out. So that tells you he's not going to be back in a week or a couple of weeks, or it's probably not too bad. It's not great. So it's back. It's back. This is an argument I've had on this channel for years. The Patrik Laine discussion. So in Winnipeg, it was always, well, look who his center is. Well, look who's playing with him. Well, they need to give him first line minutes. Well, he needs more minutes. Why aren't they giving him more time? He needs more of an opportunity. So you're a coach behind the bench. You've got a guy who's very talented. Patrik Laine is a 50-goal scorer who doesn't play like it. He has the talent. He has all of the physical attributes you need to be a goal scorer in the NHL. What I've noticed in recent games, and honestly, the idea that he's not playing in important situations, he is. He's not getting the kind of minutes that he was, say, a couple weeks ago, because he's not scoring with those minutes. He was getting more than 20 minutes a game, and he just looks lost out there a lot. And when I'm watching replays of goals against, and I see Laine kind of lingering around, and it feels like when he was in Winnipeg and struggling too, it's a pattern. And this idea that, well, he's a great, talented forward, he needs to get as much ice time as possible, that's not really how that works. And the idea that, well, he needs a really good center to get him the puck. Why? I mean, I get it. I get it. But it's bizarre to me, because there are elite goal scorers in this league that haven't necessarily had elite centers the whole way along. Ovechkin has not always had an elite center. Yes, he's had Backstrom for a lot of his goals, but he's proven over the years that if his ice time gets dropped because he's not playing well, and you stick him with whoever is his center, I believe he played with Jay Beagle as a center for a short period, he will still get goals. He will still score. And there are plenty of players in bottom six roles who are able to score with non-fantastic centers. So when I start hearing, well, Laine's not getting goals because his centers aren't elite, I look at the other players who are playing the exact same amount of time and getting goals and thinking, well, what are these guys doing that Laine's not? And to me, I think a lot of it is just work ethic. And yes, the fit might be bad in Columbus. It's a conversation we're apparently going to be having again. There's a video coming soon on Laine again. It's time. Because the idea that, well, it's not his fault. It's not his fault. is how I hear it. And we've been hearing this now for, 3 years? Anytime he goes cold, it's not his fault. It's the coach. So it was Paul Maurice, and now it's John Tortorella. I'm not saying John Tortorella is doing a great job in Columbus right now. I'm not. I think he's kind of fed up. But, the idea that, he can't coach really good players. Well, that's a surprise to me, because I thought Seth Jones and Zach Werenski were great defensemen. And, he did pretty well coaching Panarin. So the idea that, he can't coach superstar players, Artemi Panarin would say he can. So it is bizarre to me that we're having this discussion already in Columbus. Well, it's his centers. Why? Because again, he gets the puck and then he's just... Why is Roslovic getting more points than he is? Roslovic plays with him a bunch. How does Roslovic get points if he's such a crap center? It's always fun having that discussion. It's annual. It's every year. It's great. Every year. What's wrong with Carey Price? Why isn't Patrick Laine scoring? Why is it Carey Price's fault, but it's not Laine's fault? That's the interesting part. All right. Scott Harrington's been placed on waivers today by the Columbus Blue Jackets. Be kind of surprised if he gets claimed. They're doing this for taxi squad cap purposes, of course. And yeah, so we'll see if Harrington clears tomorrow. Game 757 for Patrick Marleau playing for the Sharks. So the Sharks jersey I'm wearing today is one of those promos they get when they go to games. It's a free promo you get at a Sharks game. And honestly, they have the most amazing, fun, and I mean, I call it a jersey, but it's not like it's Adidas level or anything. But these are the fun. I've got like 5 of these now. I've got like all the Day of the Dead. Like San Jose has so many fun jerseys, and it's a shame Marleau won't wear something like this. But he's now up to 1,757 games with tonight's against the Wild. So he passes Mark Messier tonight, and then he's 10 games behind Gordie Howe. 10, and then when he passes Gordie Howe, we can have a little celebration video for that as well, because honestly, it's remarkable. But this shows that with Marleau, he came into the league as a teenager, and he's never really had major injuries to deal with. And he would have already left that record in the past, if not for lockout shortened and wiped out seasons. So, remarkable career for Marleau, and he just continues to pile up the games played. Speaking of piling up games, Buffalo, with 17 losses in a row, 0-15-2. So by old-fashioned standards, it's a win. I kind of look at it as a winless streak because of the 2. The 15 regulation losses, though, are stunning. For people who are wondering, the record is still held by the Jets when it comes to a winless streak, which was 30 games in 1980-81. And that was the first season I started watching hockey, and the Jets were just awful. That was just a really, really bad season. And I've discussed on the channel before in the historical videos the Jets and their struggles that year, and how it is tied to the WHA coming in, and the fact that the NHL basically yanked away all the good players from the Jets when they come into the league. This is just a case of the Sabres just being really, really bad. And today they're saying Eichel might return this season. They're not really giving any updates on Jack Eichel other than we'll see, is basically what it is. I'm reaching the point where I would be kind of surprised if he did come back, and we'll see what happens in the offseason with Eichel and Buffalo, because it feels like that's gonna just come right around again. Why don't they stick him with Laine? Why don't they just make that happen somehow? I don't know. Either Eichel to Columbus or Laine to Buffalo. Stick Laine in Buffalo. Yeah, sure. Why not? Because then we could just combine these videos that I have to do every year. Eichel's another one that it feels like every year there's a discussion of how elite he is or isn't. And this year, the elite really hasn't been there for him. So, yeah, we'll see if he does return, or if he's stuck on those totals for this year, and if that's it for him this season. Speaking of guys who, are known for points, and also in this case known for championships and for being the best in the league, Sidney Crosby is not in any hurry to wind down anything. He's got 10 points in a 5-game point streak. When Malkin goes down, Crosby's points pick up. When Crosby goes down, Malkin's points go up. This is kind of a trend that we've seen for the last few years. And Crosby's still one of the best in the league. His vision on the ice, his leadership, everything you want in a player, it's all there. So while, yes, he is, on the older side now, especially by NHL standards, he still looks the same as he did when he was 18, basically. And while we may agree that Connor McDavid, or may not agree Connor McDavid's the best in the league now, Crosby still. If it's a Game 7 and the Stanley Cup's on the line, it'd be tough for me to say, okay, between McDavid and Crosby, who do I want taking that face-off? Right? So, yeah. Crosby's maintained his status, and it's one of the reasons why I don't rule out Pittsburgh. I know they haven't been great in the playoffs over the last 3 years. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Crosby's done it before, where people just, Pittsburgh's done now. Their time at the top's done, and then nope, Crosby. Waiver news as well. Artem Andesimov is on waivers for the Ottawa Senators. I can't see him getting picked up either. That's just so they can put him on the taxi squad. News out of Philadelphia for tonight and Wednesday, just to keep the news going on. Carter Hart is not going to be playing tonight or on Wednesday for Philly. So why don't you trade him to Columbus? Laine can go to Philly. Eichel can go to Columbus. You can send, Seth Jones to Buffalo. Sure. Let's just do fantasy trades like that there. That's as close to me wading into trade speculation that you're going to get. But Carter Hart not being in net, good. Get him right. Get him straightened out. For goaltenders, again, a lot of it is usually psychological. And for Carter Hart, there absolutely is a lot of this that is psychological. This is not that unusual for young goaltenders to go through struggles like this. Again, I think the difference for Carter Hart and some of the other younger goaltenders coming in is that while I like Brian Elliott, what Carter Hart really needs is a Vezina-level goaltender, is that guy who can really show him the ropes. Like, and even though Marc-Andre Fleury's never won a Vezina, I'll say Fleury here. Fleury, I think, would be perfect to bring Carter Hart along. And yet they don't have that... They don't have that veteran that can kind of shield him. He kind of got thrown to the wolves. And this season's been a rough one. And it just keeps getting worse. So Carter Hart should bounce back next year. We'll see. Because again, and coming back to the Laine thing, with young players, it's never a question of the talent. Sometimes it just doesn't work out. So hopefully for Hart it does, because I still believe in the goaltender myself. Bowen Byram. So he took a hit from Kolasar on Thursday. He was out of the game on Saturday. He's not playing tonight either. And he's in concussion protocol as well for Calgary. So he's considered day-to-day, but it might end up being week-to-week because it's a concussion. You just don't know when that's going to clear up. There's not necessarily any way to know when that's going to clear up. So, all the best to Byram. He's their, young defenseman of the future, who he and Makar could make this fantastic two-headed beast on the blue line. And so for Byram, it's better to be safe than sorry on that one. Nashville. I want to discuss this because I keep seeing all this talk about Ekholm. So who's going to get Ekholm? Well, Matthias Ekholm's on the block, so who's going to get Ekholm? Nashville's fourth in the division. They are now tied with Chicago and have more wins. I don't understand why David Poile would necessarily sell at the deadline on Ekholm. At this point, if you're a Nashville general manager and you're looking at making a trade, you want it to be a hockey trade. If you're trading a player out, you want a player coming back. So I don't know that Ekholm's still on the block, to be honest. I honestly, I'd be very surprised if Poile's willing to move him. And I know for some Nashville fans it may be, well, we'd rather just tear it down and come back next year because we don't think they can do anything in the playoffs, but it's Nashville. And it's possible. It's possible they go out there and they secure a first-round upset. Nashville against Tampa, you just never know. Rene gets hot. Saros has a few good games. Suddenly, maybe you're knocking out the defending Stanley Cup champions. And being the defending Stanley Cup champions, Tampa could very well get knocked out in the first round. They would not be the first Stanley Cup champions to have that happen to them. So, it's going to be an interesting run to the trade deadline, which is in a couple of weeks, 2 weeks from today. And, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below regarding any of this. And again, the Laine thing just drives me nuts because now he's with a different team, and it's the exact same argument. Well, he's not scoring because All right, fine. But yeah, let me know your thoughts. Hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through. You just happened upon this video. And hey, thank you guys so much for watching, for all your support. I will talk to you again soon.